it's the beer that kind of, really helped us grow a lot. And I think it'd be a great way to celebrate.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go! Hey, 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 fill it up, fill it up. Hey, 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 fill it up, fill it up. Hey, 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 fill it up, fill it up. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, what's up, guys? I got Jake Rouse with me here today. Jake, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you?
I am good, and I should note Jake is the co-founder of Braxton Brewing in Kentucky. And Jake, I gotta start things out. I know you guys are in Northern Kentucky there. I know there's a lot of Bengals fans probably around you guys. Are you indeed a Bengals fan?
I'm a huge Bengals fan. I'm like a Burrow believer and all in on the Bengals this year.
Dude, I like Jake Burrow a lot. And then Jamar Chase, you think he's going to be a nice weapon on offense?
I got to tell you, he's not had a lot of good news come out of camp, but I'm a believer. I think that overall, a lot of the troubles the Bengals had last year were offensive line driven, but a lot of them were also driven by the fact that, Burrow held the ball a little too long. So hopefully Jamar Chase, a true downfield threat, gives him an opportunity to not get sacked ever again.
No doubt. And I think T. Higgins is such an underrated receiver too.
I agree.
I think they have a good team. I'd like to see them do well. They're fun to watch, even though, the record, at least last year, didn't really reflect it. What's your take on the Bengals record? And you got to factor in that 17th game. It's so weird this year
I know they have such a hard schedule. And I was just in Vegas this week and I didn't even look at the over-under, but I think they're like only supposed to win like 4 or 5 games. I got to believe we're 8 and 9, 9 and 8. I think we're going to have a winning season. We'll put it that way.
I think
I'm a stupid Cincinnati fan though. Every year, every team, I get my hopes up and it's been a long career being a Cincinnati sports fan.
Yeah, the last time I was in that stadium, I think we throttled the Bengals. It was when I was with the Broncos in 2018. It was at the end of the year, and the stadium didn't have much juice to it at that point. But man, I think like the next like five years, I think there could be a flippening in the AFC North. I mean, you got Pittsburgh is aging, and you don't know what the future's like with Ben, and Baltimore will still probably be pretty solid, but Cleveland's on the up and up, and I think Cincinnati's got a lot of potential.
As long as we stay healthy, I think we'll be in a great spot. I mean, the foundation is there. You got to build around it, and I think the fans are ready and frankly sick of being in a rebuilding phase. So I'm excited for this year.
You guys have a tap room in Kentucky or in Cincinnati, right?
We do. We just picked it up at the end of last year. We opened it up, Braxton, Cincinnati. It'll come up on its 1-year anniversary here next month.
Oh, congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Hopefully you can bring it in with Bengals victory.
That's the goal.
Hey, and I'm sure a successful Bengals season would do wonders for your spot there.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys just recently celebrated your 6th anniversary.
Yep.
And looking back on those 6 years, COVID aside, because I know that was kind of a wrench in everybody's plans. Outside COVID, when you look back, what have been a couple, major obstacles that you guys have had to hurdle?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the entire thing, Jared, it's all about trying to keep up with consumer preference, right? And like we've been really fortunate that we've been able to create a brand and create an experience in Northern Kentucky that really does Northern Kentucky justice and really does craft beer justice. People want to come to our spaces. We do a really great job at executing in them and imagining unique events. But the challenge now more so than ever is what do people want to drink? Back in 2019, we launched our first hard seltzer, Vive. And it was on a rocket ship, and it had still, we actually sponsored the Bengals. As a Bengal fan, I was the official hard seltzer of the Cincinnati Bengals, and we were really excited about all of the things that were coming to be with that hard seltzer category. And now, it's still growing, it's still interesting. We still make beer as well, but trying to understand what is the next thing consumers are going to be, so that you can align product around it is challenging, and especially with the pandemic, because we're seeing a lot of trends from prior years accelerate, right? And you're seeing a lot of people who were, e-commerce for alcohol took off and all this great stuff. So we're trying, deeply to to figure out what's next and to work on the near term for what we're doing from an innovation perspective.
What are some of those trends that you see accelerate?
Yeah, I mean, better for you is one for sure. I mean, that was starting to creep up at the beginning of seltzer, and then everybody was staying home, and people still to some extent are not living life that they used to, and I think that's one that accelerated a ton. I think the other one is premiumization across almost every category is really really taking off. Meaning, consumers are spending maybe less, but they're spending it on bigger things. So they're willing to buy up in beer, or they're willing to buy up in alcohol to enjoy something a little bit nicer if it is at home, rather than being at a bar or a restaurant and spending a couple $100 a night. So I think that is the second. The other one that we're watching really closely is e-commerce. I mean, it used to be really hard to buy alcohol on the internet. I mean, a lot of infrastructure had to be in place, a lot of regulation, and now it looks like it's taken off quite a big deal. So those three things combined are really I think pushing things forward and things we're keeping our eyes on.
Yeah, hopefully that e-commerce part continues to develop, because I remember it was kind of like an underground beer trade that existed. I've lived in several places, and when I was in Arizona, I met a guy who was big on the beer trade scale, or on the beer trade scene. And we were here and we were there in Phoenix, and we'd have all these East Coast beers shipped to him, and that was kind of fun. So that would be great if that e-commerce was able to continue to develop. So I could get beer here in Michigan straight from your guys' brewery. That would be excellent. And why not? Why what's the barrier? And hopefully that could be kind of a silver lining of COVID, because there are so many exemptions made as far as alcohol carry out, alcohol delivery, all that stuff, just for businesses to be able to get their product out when everyone was at home. And, we live in an age now where we're all much more connected than we've ever been before. We got this thing called the internet that I think is going to stick around for a while.
Just a little bit.
We're talking right now on Zoom. So why not? Why not be able to get beer from your guys' brewery to my house up here in Michigan? I think that would be an awesome thing, and hopefully that continues to progress.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, the big thing that we kept saying in the industry is once you take the toothpaste out of the tube, it's hard to put it back. So once they granted us the rights to be able to do this stuff, it's like, well, wait a minute, the world didn't end, and things are a little better. So it's definitely been beneficial from an ease of doing business perspective.
That's good. That's good. That's a good thing. Hopefully that ball keeps rolling. Looking at your guys' team on your website, it's impressive. That's a big team.
Oh, thanks.
I've been fortunate to be part of some good teams in the past. I know what goes into a team and how it, brings success to what you're doing. What are a couple of your tactics when building a team?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we're definitely a very nimble and fast moving organization. We've tried to double the business virtually every year. Obviously, pandemic kind of stopped that. And for us right now, we're trying to build back the company that we had before the pandemic. I mean, we went from a world of never laying a person off with 73 people strong to 12 virtually overnight, and we're now at about 55, building that back. And so, I think to me, what I look at is trying to give our team autonomy to get their job done and hold them, hold everybody to a really high standard of execution. That's what we really try to do. And people believe in the mission. They believe in what we're doing. And I think that as long as we continue to work together on some of these bigger projects, we will end up at a better place on the other side. We really will. And so there's not like a silver lining on what we do. Like we just try to let everybody show up. They're all experts in their own individual field, and they all bring a level of energy that we expect to kind of, bring the business forward and see where it goes from there.
Awesome. Excellent. That's good stuff. So getting kind of into the beer of Braxton. Yeah, the fun stuff. What do you try to center your brewery around as far as the beverages? I know you said that things move fast. You got to keep up.
Yeah.
I saw you guys have a pretty big portfolio of beer on tap. How do you go about that portfolio and what you want to bring to the beer scene?
Yeah. So for us, we have two workhorses right now. Garage Beer is our everyday, everybody's craft lager. And it is just that beer that you would, end of the day, crack it open. It's incredible. Just easy, simple beer tasting beer, right? 4%. that brand is our hero for sure. We continue to invest in growing it, and it is putting up some remarkable numbers across our distribution footprint. Alternatively, we have a pretty successful hard seltzer line. So our Vive hard seltzers are great at kind of being that easy to drink, better for you option. We then work on a lot of craft brands that are true to style, and so as we think about bringing new products to life, we have an innovation brewery which operates a lot like a test kitchen out of Newport, Kentucky, just about a mile and a half from our headquarters here in Covington. And that place is, we never repeat a recipe. And we work really hard to stay on top of what's new, what's unique, and how do our beers churn out of there to make it make sense. And so I think that overall, we're looking for what's next, but we've anchored ourselves in two real flagships that give us a big opportunity to move this in the right direction.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think the next trend is going to be in craft beer? Where do you think craft beer is heading in the next 10 years?
Oh man, that's such a tough question.
I know it is.
I can tell you that to me, what I'm seeing and what I believe is that you're kind of seeing, in my opinion, I think this is our 7th year. So, the pendulum kind of swings back and forth. And so when we first opened, it was all about, big West Coast IPAs that are, juicy in flavor and bitter at, high ABV. I think you're starting to see a lot of that come back. I think you're starting to see IPA, continue to be a big player in the space, but people, went really hard on New England style IPAs, which I love them. We make a great one called Tropic Flair, but I think consumers are looking for sessionable, easy to drink as well. So I think as you think all that together, you're going to see a big push towards, that 4 to 5% alcohol, no matter what style it is. And how can you bring the most flavor in that particular, ABV range?
Yeah, and that's the tough thing, because the smaller beer, you don't have as much to work with. You gotta make sure it's nice, refined, and polished, or else you got something that's sticking out that's not supposed to stick out. So
exactly right.
There's some challenge in that. I think a lot of the craft beer world though really appreciates those beers that are smaller beers that pack a big punch. Are you guys working on any kind of beers like that right now?
We are, yeah. We're working on a couple of new brands that would fit within our seasonal lineup. We had one that we launched this summer that just performed so well. We were kind of shocked. It was a blood orange radler. And so it was 4% alcohol, but it kind of tasted like a blend of beer and orange juice. And it was delicious, like incredible. And customers really, really returned to that one in a big way. So I was excited to see that happen. And, as we look forward, it's how do we iterate on some of the staples that we have? So garage beer, and we've piloted garage beer lime, which is, seems like a natural extension given the beer category, but there weren't many craft players doing that. And so we tried it on draft, and it's gone over really well. And so we look at 2022, and I see a really bright future for executing some really awesome beers.
Awesome. And I'm a hop head myself. I rotate between hoppy beers and lagers. Those are that's my wheelhouse.
There you go.
Yeah. When the palate gets worn out, you go for something easy and refreshing. And, so I like talking about the hops. In your hoppy beers, what are your go-to hops that you guys use? And why do you guys choose those hops?
Oh yeah, for sure. So we do Tropic Flair, and we're about to release a big attempt on a West Coast that we're excited about. But for us, it's our favorite hops are Citra, Galaxy, and Mosaic. And those three combined create just this beautiful juice, bitter aroma, and it's awesome.
Oh, preaching to the choir. I actually, so funny that you mentioned that, and the smaller beers, because right now I don't even know what you call it at this point. A hoppy American Pale Ale. What do you call a beer that comes in at 4.5%, but pretty much is just a scaled down IPA? Do you call it a session IPA?
Pale Ale, session
pale,
IPA,
whatever. Or do you not even put a label on it? I don't know. But I used Galaxy, Mosaic, and Citra, and actually used the Lupomax Citra and Mosaic. So that
it's awesome.
Punch you in the face, tropical flavor. But then, had to dial it way back so it fit in that 4.5%. Right. It's nice. I just, tapped that last week, and that's gone over nicely here at the house.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Those are the best kinds of beers, house beers.
We don't have too many unruly customers around here, so it's hard to get honest feedback. But, I think it tastes pretty decent. So outside of your beers at Braxton, what is your go-to beer? Like what beer sits on your singular Mount Rushmore. You know,
Yeah.
you got a beer Mount Rushmore. You can put one beer nationwide into that.
Yeah, that's a great question. To me, it's going to sound kind of funny, but Bourbon County Brand Stout is what got me into craft beer. Just the idea that you could create a beer that tastes so distinct, and that the flavor profiles of bourbon and vanilla and smoke just they pair together so well that I'm a big fan of it. My brother and I go out and chase it every Black Friday. Still to this day, just because it's fun. We used to do it before we started Braxton, and so I would put, if it isn't ours, I'd put Bourbon County Brand Stout up there because it just gives you an opportunity to try something really unique and something big. You really only need one of them too.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, if you're having more than one, you're having a good time. That's for sure. You're probably gonna feel the repercussions soon after. But that is a great beer, and they do some cool little like one-offs within the Bourbon County Stouts too, don't they? Where they kind of
They
tweak it
do,
little
yeah, a
bit
lot of different
and
variants. So this year, I think they announced a cola variant, which is going to be pretty interesting. I'm going to get my hands on one of those and see how they attempt that flavor.
yeah, and they have a really cool. It seems so gimmicky, but they have a really cool bottle. That
Yes,
their
you're right.
bottle,
You're
their
right.
bottle and their labeling. There's something about it. It's like almost like you're holding it up and there's like a shining halo around it.
Right.
Like you're already. There's something satisfying before you even pop the top on it.
Completely agree.
Yeah. So, back to craft beer as a whole. What do you think are, one or two of the, kind of widespread myths or lies told in craft beer?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that the first one is that craft beer is only IPA. I hear that a lot. Like, everybody's just like, oh, I don't like IPAs or I don't like bitter beer. And, to me, craft is so expansive now. We've got 12,000 breweries in the country. Like, there is such an incredible array of products for every flavor profile. And so I think that's one of the big ones. Just you can really, find any beer if you look hard enough, you'll find one that you like. And I think the other one is just that craft is always the equivalence of really small. I mean, we got a lot of peers that have built some really great companies around a beverage that is really proud to be where they're from and leverages a lot of the local flavor profiles, but doesn't necessarily mean that it's just a tiny hole in the wall. And so I think that is I think it's really important because you said we've got 50 some odd employees that work really hard at building this business every day. And, I'm really proud of what we built. And I think that's one of the myths that we consistently bust.
Yeah. I mean, you've built up certainly quite a brewery, a good reputation for yourself in the craft brewing industry. Kind of looking at that as a whole, what are you most proud of in that regard?
I think, to me, what we're most proud of at Braxton is the impact that we've made on the community and our employees. I mean, you've probably not been to Covington, Kentucky, but the city when we started was not really built at all. I mean, my brother and I would very intentionally clean up, heroin needles and drug paraphernalia in the mornings when we first opened. And now you've got a 4-star boutique hotel, 200, market rate apartments and 6 restaurants around us. And it's been really fun to watch and something that we're really, really proud of.
Nice. So you guys were in a way kind of a pioneer in the neighborhood then.
Yeah. I mean, we took a risk on it. A lot of people laughed at us, but it's paid off. So, fingers crossed that it continues. And again, I think we're working really hard and trying to be as intentional as possible on COVID to get people back safely. And I think we're starting to see it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, to me, that's one of the coolest things about craft beer is you can put a brewery in a neglected part of town and build the town around that.
You're right.
You put a brewery in a up and coming neighborhood or a struggling neighborhood, and all of a sudden you have people going there. And now, hey, people are going there. Then myself as a business owner who wants to throw in a coffee shop or a burger stand or whatever, I know I got people that are going to your
Right.
place. I can start looking at property around you, and then you start getting the ball rolling that way. And that's awesome. It doesn't take you don't need the shiniest lot on the block to get going in craft beer. And I think that's what gives it somewhat of an authentic feel to it, and that goes a long way. People like authentic nowadays.
Completely agree.
Yeah,
Couldn't
and
agree more.
actually leads me. So you guys are growing, you're expanding. You say you're coming up on a 1 year for your tap room in Cincinnati. How do you guys grow, get this big portfolio, and still stay authentic and true to yourselves at that same time?
It's all about the people, right? I mean, it's all about making sure that the reason we've been able to grow is by committing to these same tenets, which are, driving community and making a positive impact of where we exist. And so as long as we stay close to that, we should be able to grow in any facet. And so it's making sure that people are carrying our mission forward and pushing it in the right direction. And I think by doing that, I think we'll be, continually, you'll see us open a few more tap rooms, who knows, maybe open a few more states. It's the sky, the growth is limitless.
Yeah, well, like what's your end goal? Like, what do you hope when it's all said and done, you look back and you're like, man, I'm so like what? Yeah, like you're at the top of the mountain, like the North Star. Like what is it for you?
For me, it's to be a real regional player, right? For people to be able to come into Kentucky. We sell beer, Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, and Ohio, and to be able to come into Kentucky and want to seek out one of our breweries. And right now we're looking at a very regional approach. Like how do we push further south? How do we push further north? How do we do that in a meaningful way? And so I think that, as long as we can continue to create unique spaces that activate our products, over a given set of time, I think we'll be wildly successful.
Awesome. Are you guys cooking up anything right now? Anything in the works? New developments?
We are. Yeah. I can't talk about them yet, but yeah, we got a couple of irons in the fire right now, and we're hoping to bring a couple of them to life, but for now, they're still a little too early to be talking about.
All right, touche. Maybe down the road we can get to that.
There we go.
Yeah. One big question here. I know we touched on your favorite beer outside Braxton, Bourbon County Stout. Great choice. Kind of a similar question, but completely different at the same time. It is the end of times. It's the end of the world, and you got one night left. And you got one beer to enjoy that night. It could be, a whole case of that one, that same beer. It's almost like the desert island. What are you taking with you? What are you drinking that last night?
I think for me, it would probably be garage beer. Just because it's just so easy to drink. It fits with what, you're doing into times. It's the beer that kind of, really helped us grow a lot. And I think it'd be a great way to celebrate.
Yeah. Touche. And, kind of going into garage beer. Cause I know I can tell, just by your face when you say the word garage beer, big old smile lights up, like it strikes a chord with you. And I can tell, if it's, one of your best selling beers, that it's striking a chord with the community, with the people drinking your beer. How did you guys, craft up that beer, and what were some of the ways you made the beer what it is now?
Yeah, so for us, we got our start in the garage on Braxton Drive. My brother was brewing there, and that's where we started the entire business. And so when we created this product, it was created on a fashion that was basically, we want a beer that we can enjoy at the end of the day that, isn't going to weigh us down, isn't going to be, so ABV that we get, too drunk. It's just going to be one that we can enjoy. It's essentially a beer for brewers, if you will. And so our team went to work on creating a high quality lager that was really refreshing and easy to drink, but light and simple at the same time. And basically allowed us to create, garage beer and what it is today. And over time, we put that beer in a 15 pack at $15.99, which just speaks to what it is. It's a beer's beer. And I think because of that, it allows us to really, create something special and pay homage to where we got our start.
Yeah, and on the ingredient side of that beer, what goes into it? I always nerd out on this kind of stuff, being,
it's the most basic beer you could ever imagine. It's the Reinheitsgebot beer, if you will. It's just water, yeast, malt, and hops. Okay. And it's very, very, very basic. We're using basic malt, basic hops, and it is, it's turned pretty quickly and just creates a great flavor profile.
And what kind of yeast are you guys throwing in there?
So we actually propagate our own yeast for that beer, and so it's one that I can't really describe because it's just been built for that beer, but it adds just this amazing kind of aromatic and flavor profile to what you would want out of a clean, crisp lager after a long hot day in the garage.
Nice and refreshing.
That's right. Yeah.
So then, did you start out brewing beer in the garage as well? Were you?
Oh, so that's a funny story. So my brother is the one who is the brains behind the products. I started the business with him together about 7 years ago, but I was in technology, and so I had graduated from Indiana University and left IU and joined a tech firm. And once we had been in tech for quite some while, I was like, it's probably time to do something a little different. So we took the leap of faith and started this thing up, and it's been going ever since.
Awesome. So you've never tried your hand at your own batch of garage made beer?
I've never been able to brew. No, I'm just not mechanically inclined. I mean, it's just not my skill set.
Yeah, you'd rather lay out the equipment or do something on the tech
Exactly.
side, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
the brains behind it. Nice, awesome. Well, Jake, man, I appreciate you chatting today.
Yeah, of course.
Hopefully I can get my hands on some of your guys' beer one day.
We'd be happy to send you some. If you're just in Michigan, we'll send you a little care package.
Hey, that would be excellent. I'd appreciate that greatly. Yeah, I mean, talking about all this garage beer, it's the dog days of summer here in Michigan. It's like 90, humid outside. It sounds great. I got done cutting my grass yesterday at Session IPA or whatever you want to call it on tap. Just didn't even strike a chord because there just needed something that needed to be cold and just go down smooth. And that garage beer sounds awesome, man.
We'll get you some of it. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, and good luck with everything. Happy 1 year to your guys' place in Cincinnati, and
Thank you.
Hopefully those Bengals can make you guys proud this year.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
Take care.